But Dave, let's round out this emergency onside kick podcast with a team I didn't think we'd talk about unless it's draft.
Yeah.
And I did not expect them to do what they did. Basically what they did, the Browns, by the way, I got to compare it to what the Sixers did with the Moneyball situation or with the trust the process situation, TTP, where they said, hey, we've got a ton of picks and we're going to trade them. Listen to this. This is what the Browns have done today, and this is per Adam Schefter. So they acquired Tyrod Taylor, Jarvis Landry, Damarious Randall, and a 4th and a 5th round pick this year from the Green Bay Packers. They will give up a 3rd round pick this year, 2 4th rounds this year, a 5th round this year, a 7th next year, and Deshaun Kaiser. They still have 5 of the top 26 picks in this year's NFL draft. So basically, they're getting 3 players and 2 picks, and they gave up 1 player and an overall of 5 picks, with 4 of them being this year.
Right.
I want to ask you, you've got Tyrod Taylor, we've got Jarvis Landry, we've got Damarious Randall. Is this the beginning of the road to making the Browns winners? I mean, actually winning games and being competitive in football.
You made that plural, games.
Yes.
Do you know how long it's been since they've won more than one game?
More than one. It's been 3 years.
Yeah, it's been a bit. It's been a bit.
Can they win more than one game with these guys on the field?
I'm going to step on a ledge and say yes. I think they can do it. I think they can do the unthinkable.
Is it
win
bad
2 games.
Is it bad to like this? Like these deals and now like the Browns?
No,
overhype the Browns?
You can overhype the Browns. You can mark them down for 3 wins next year, and I'll be like, whoa, Ricky. Watch what you're doing here. We are not talking about. No. I think they're all good moves. Look, this is the thing. The Browns, like you mentioned earlier, the Moneyball situation, they got the guy who basically was known for, let's be smart with our moves. Let's take the contracts. Let's move them. Let's get picks back. Let's build ourselves up for a great draft classes. The amount of picks they built up over the next couple of years. And then they flipped them this year for players like Tyrod Taylor, who is a proven NFL quarterback, who is a smart player, doesn't make too many unnecessary throws. That's kind of his knock, is he's never going to make the sexy bombs down the field on a consistent basis, but he usually throws pretty well and keeps the ball under control. And then adding in Jarvis Landry, a true number 1 wide receiver, who you just have a guy who you can chuck the ball at over the middle and not have to worry about. You've got young guys developing on the left and right for him, who hopefully with the addition of a stable quarterback like Tyrod can grow. I like those 2. And then you go get Randall, try to shore up that defense a little bit more, because look, you attack the 3 most important, well, not the most important, but 3 major contributing positions. So I think that so far, so good. I think the picks they traded, worthwhile.
Let me look at this.
Yeah.
So right now, this is all speculation.
Right.
Your starting 2 corners now will be Jason McCourty on one side and then Damarious Randall on the other.
Yeah.
Then you have Tyrod at the quarterback situation because Deshaun Kaiser is no longer there. Your wide receivers, you have a 1-2 punch of Josh Gordon on one side.
Good Lord.
Jarvis Landry on the other, who, he has a franchise tag, but it's being reported that he's working with the Browns to get a long-term deal. So he's staying in Cleveland, it seems. That was also another thing of his trade, was he didn't want to get traded anywhere unless a long-term deal would be taking place.
Yeah.
And then you have Corey Coleman, who I know Corey Coleman hasn't been what we thought he'd be, but if he could get to that, having him in the slot, it's weird to say, I asked, can I like these moves? Because it's not often I say, wow, the Browns are really making some good moves. Tyrod Taylor, Mark and I have been talking forever, and there are some people that are being like, you guys are crazy. The Bills hated him. Bills wanted him out of town. They didn't want anyone.
He can't win games.
They didn't want anything to. But neither can Nathan Peterman, and that's your quarterback right now. If you're Buffalo,
he proved that.
Nathan Peterman's your starting quarterback.
Is that 5 picks and a half?
Yeah.
I watched that game and just enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the game they
ugly.
benched Tyrod. So you get Tyrod Taylor and Jarvis Landry. This is a win for him, because the one thing that he hated about Miami was Miami was like, no, you're a slot guy. And he's like, no, I'm an outside guy.
Yeah.
No, you're a slot guy. Did you see Jay Cutler throw to me? I'm an outside guy.
He has really good yards after the catch. It's kind of why they want to shoehorn him.
He can be an outside guy.
Well, I mean, Josh Gordon's the guy.
But there's another outside,
Josh
Dave.
Gordon. I know.
There's another outside.
I know.
Josh Gordon's going to be on the left. Jarvis Landry's going to be on the right.
As long as Josh Gordon stays healthy and drug-free.
Yes.
That's going to be fun.
God, and now you look at the Browns, like this completely changes their draft.
And they have 1-4 still. And like you said, how many picks in the top?
They have 5 of the top 65.
Whew. They got a lot of work they can still continue to do.
That's 5 in the first 2 rounds, if my math is correct.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Or, I'm sorry, 2 rounds and a pick.
Yeah. Yeah, the first pick of the third.
Yeah, so it's insane that to me, like, Saquon Barkley, pack your bags, you're a Cleveland Brown.
Oh.
There's no way they're not taking him at number 1 now.
Yeah.
They don't need to take a quarterback number 1 because you get Tyrod. Because if I'm not mistaken, Tyrod's deal has some time on it. Like, he's not someone that's, he's done at the end of this year. We got to get someone to replace him. His deal exactly, I know there's a potential out because Mark and I have talked about it enough. Oh, did they change his deal?
Oh.
No.
What's that?
So on Spot Rack, no, they didn't. All right. Nope, never mind. So,
hot take reaction.
I highlight over. So when I go to Spot Rack, it has this next year's salary, but then the next 3 years he would have had, there's only dashes. Mm-hmm. They basically, if I'm reading this right, because when you hover over each of the dash, it says club. Basically, they have Tyrod Taylor, and after each year, all the way up until 2019, he'd be a free agent, or 2022 is when he'd be a free agent. They could basically, after each year now, go, do we want to keep him? Sure, club option. Then the next year, we want to keep him? Sure, club option. They've got 3 years of that after this. Or they can draft a guy with that 4, a Josh Allen, a Baker Mayfield, a Josh Rosen, whoever you want it to be.
Right, pretty much just not, Sam Darnold. Yeah. We're assuming he'll go
between. To either the Giants or someone will trade up above 4. Now they can go, you know what? Tyrod can be our guy, but as soon as we have that guy under to take over, Tyrod can get cut. And he's gone. And there's no long-term situation for Tyrod to take that spot away from somebody they would draft.
Yeah, I mean, it puts him in a great situation. And I'll be honest, like, the idea of adding Saquon Barkley, that's the weird thing. Like, he's the best athlete in this draft.
Yes.
And I know I haven't talked NFL draft,
yes.
But from an outsider perspective,
he can run,
athlete,
he can catch.
He would be a workhorse for them. But is he worth going number 1?
Yes.
Or do you want to go and see if you can moneyball this harder?
No.
And see if you trade that number 1 out?
No. I take Saquon Barkley number 1 because if I don't take him number 1, the Giants will take him number 2.
Right.
Yes, and I don't want that to happen. Like he will not
so they need a running back so bad that they're locked in. What if they get a king's ransom for that number 1?
I don't take it.
Really?
I don't take it only because when you have a player that is as good
running
as
backs
Saquon
are dime a dozen.
Like, is it weird that like 3 years ago it's like you never take a running back in the first round?
Well, that's been Kuiper forever.
Now
he's a grumpy old man.
Arguing to take number 1 overall.
Yeah, it's crazy how far it's transitioned.
Well, because you look at the Browns.
Yep.
Isaiah Crowell is
he's screwed me in fantasy.
Yep. And I don't think they're going to re-sign him now. You've got Duke Johnson. He's not a main guy. And then you've got a ton of other guys that you don't care about them because they're just filling roster spots. Whereas you put Saquon in, he can change the dynamic of this team and you add Jarvis Landry, you add Tyrod Taylor. Then with Saquon, this offense can actually cook and do something. Like win more than just one game. Maybe
we're talking games. We're going plural.
Win a game.
No, we're talking
like you
plural.
did 2 years ago. The thing is with the Giants, though.
Yeah.
When's the last time they had a running back? Tiki Barber? Like I know I'm going really far back, and it might be a bit of an exaggeration.
Yeah.
They don't have a run game, so if Saquon's there, they'd be like, whatever, fine, we'll take him at 2 because we really could use a running back and we don't need a quarterback.
I wish David Wilson was actually healthy.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been awesome
like David
if that panned
Wilson,
out.
Like, remember when Darkwa had a big week and everyone's like, yeah, Darkwa, and then no, Darkwa's not the guy.
Yeah.
But it's like,
I get it.
Really, Jennings was the last running back that they had to where it's like, wow, he's our running back. That's why I feel like the Browns have to take Saquon 1. Then at 4, then it becomes an interesting situation because then at 4, you can do one of two things. You can take your quarterback or you can money ball it and move back.
Yeah, I think I would be happy taking a quarterback there. And that's, like you said, Tyrod Taylor, you've got the option, but you know what he is at the same time. He's a safe player. He's a consistent player. You don't really have to worry about him becoming the franchise guy, though.
Yeah.
He's a guy who can rock you to that middle-of-the-pack position, and under him, fine. That's cool. You have a piece, but you need to develop someone behind him in the next 2 years. Basically, you have that window. I'm not thinking this is like a Mike Glennon situation where, we're going to go sign Mike Glennon, and then, before the season's out, we're in Mitch Trubisky land already. I think that the Tyrod can hold down the fort as long as it's not Sam Darnold. I think if they go with an Allen or a Rosen...
not even that. Yeah. They can wait till now. They have 3 years of club options.
I get that.
To where I would say next year at the latest. Even if they said...
But this draft class of quarterbacks is pretty good.
I know.
They're pretty good
With
guys.
me...
We were waiting on this class last year.
Yeah, I know. With me, I am standing pat to what I said on the onside kick that today as we recorded it, posted, it'd be yesterday for you guys listening to this. I would do the same thing I said on the onside kick this past week.
What's that?
Saquon number 1, Baker Mayfield at number 4.
Baker Mayfield 4.
Baker Mayfield at number 4. Because Baker's a guy where you can... I feel like if you started him in Cleveland day 1, if you started him in Cleveland day 1, it would work. But there's a possibility to Deshaun Kaiser him to where it's maybe we rushed you in a little bit too soon. But the thing that I think that now this situation works better for Baker Mayfield, because what's the one thing, it starts with a C, and it's a longer word, so it's not the word you're probably thinking of, that people use to describe, that Baker Mayfield uses to describe himself.
I don't know.
Confident. A lot of people say he's cocky. He says he's confident. With that confidence that he has, he's also a very competitive guy.
He is.
This is now a perfect situation for him. A team that hasn't won to where he can put the chip on his shoulder, basically be the guy that Cleveland can rally behind. He's a man of the people at the quarterback. But 2, you know what? You're coming into a situation, Tyrod can hold the fort. You're going to compete for that job. And even if you lose it the first year, he's not going to be a guy that goes, oh, man, I didn't get that quarterback spot. What am I doing? Why am I in the league? He's not going to do that. He's going to be like, all right, I didn't get it. I'm going to work my butt off. I'm going to work my butt off to get that starter.
But if we're talking about guys who maybe want to be a project guy who aren't going to need that shining light up front, I mean, doesn't that lean towards more the Josh Allen type, the guy who
could go Allen too.
He's got the body, he's got the look.
Did you see that 70-yard bomb? I know it's the combine, but that 70-yard bomb.
He launched that sumbitch. Yeah, that was truly impressive. But I mean, if you're talking project, that's kind of the way I would lean.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a guy to start sooner, Baker could probably start sooner. Josh Allen, Rosen.
Rosen.
I like Rosen a little more.
See, but Rosen and Darnold, I think, are in the same camp of if you draft them,
they should probably play.
You're starting year 1.
Yeah, I think that they're both pretty polished. I like them. But yeah, I'm just saying, Allen at 4 would not, it's not the end of the world. Unless they want to trade back.
I want to ask you, because I haven't had the opportunity to ask you this yet.
Yeah.
About Rosen.
Yep.
All the issues about
personality.
His personality, the Peter King. I asked this to Brandon, I asked it to Mark, I'm going to ask it to you. So
sure.
Peter King, he says a thing that the NFL has a distrust of rich kids.
Right.
There's the whole thing about when Josh Rosen talks to wide receivers, it sounds very condescending and it just rubs people the wrong way.
Yeah.
There have been things to where he's always questioning coaches, no matter what it is, asking why, which could not be seen as negative, but I could see how that would be annoying to an NFL coach, especially depending on the coach.
Right.
If it's a coach that's like, it's my way or the highway, and you're asking why, it's not going to rub them the right way. What are you thinking about his kind of personality issues that are being thrown out there?
I think he was put into a position where he was big man on campus. I think he was the guy, and I think he kind of threw that around, threw his weight around using that.
Like to have fun in college?
I mean, like to have fun, but he also, I think the question thing was more of a, I'd like to view that as, more student of the game than, a guy who's just never happy with what the coach answers, as we're doing this thing.
Not like the 4-year-old that's like, why?
Why? Yeah, you can't ever end that chain. So I like to see the positives out of this and think that when he hits an NFL franchise, that he comes in the door with the right attitude. I don't think that it's going to be him out on a limb, talking to guys who are more experienced than him. I think it's very much because of his role on his team and his position in college. I think you walk into the NFL, it's a different world. You're now at the bottom of that totem pole. You got to earn the respect of the guys around you. I think he's a guy who can do it through that winning way, that leadership that he came in with. I just don't think that the potential concerns warrant the drop on the board. That's all.
Yeah, and for me, you guys can get my full analysis on it in our big board that Brandon and I did.
Yeah.
It makes me a little nervous. The thing that makes me the most nervous is the condescending to wide receivers.
Yeah, you don't make friends.
I've gotten help from people that, in college, played the same instrument as one of my best friends in college, and whenever he would try to help me, it would be a really condescending way to where at the end, I'm not being like, oh, thank you for helping me. It's get the fuck away from me.
Ooh.
What are you doing? I don't need your help. You're being condescending as shit, and it just makes me more angry that I'm not getting what I need to get.
But is that not something that can be kind of taught away from doing that?
It could be.
Is that fixable?
It's fixable.
Okay.
It's not a hard thing.
You've got a kid with the physical skills, and he's got the leadership, and he's got the winning pedigree to an extent. Watching
his film, he's Matt Ryan to me.
Yeah,
he looks the part, and just watching him, he looks like Matt Ryan.
You just take the chance that look, he needs to be kind of brought in at the right level and with the right expectations, but I think that's super worth his weight. I would not get pushed off. I understand there's some questions, but I think we're gonna find out a little bit more as teams kind of give him a shot. But I think
with
he's
pro
still,
days and the more they interview.
Well, pro days are glorified.
No, I'm talking the interviews. The pro days,
absolutely longer than that 30-minute they give you.
They're all scripted with the throws and stuff.
Yeah. So no, I like him. I just think if you're the Browns, you go for that project and you go for Allen at 4, unless you can trade back and feel comfortable that you could get a better haul. Rapid
fire here. This is moving away from the Browns just a little bit. I want to ask you about 2 or 3 things about the rest of the league. First off, here's a big thing, and I know he tweeted about it immediately after the Tyrod Taylor trade happened. I didn't think this was going to happen, but Colin Cowherd said in his last mock draft, because I feel like every time he does one, he's mocking the mock drafts.
Yeah.
He said that the Bills were going to trade both their picks in 2021, I believe they are. So the 20th pick and the 21st overall pick, trade them to the 49ers to get a Josh Allen.
Oh.
Now, because Nathan Peterman's their starting quarterback right now, does that become more true of maybe the Bills are trading up now in the draft to try to get one of the top 5 quarterbacks? Or would they sit there and take a Lamar Jackson or a Mason Rudolph?
I think that they would go for the trade-up option. I think that fits in line with what they're doing. They're in a rebuild. They've been moving pieces left and right for the last year. I'm all in on that because I think that, honestly, in the NFL, you're only as good as your quarterback. And we saw what happens when you don't have a competent quarterback or you don't have a backup quarterback. You need to get that guy who is the head of your franchise. And I think that if you can get 20 and 21, and I don't know if they need to give anything else or if that's good enough, and I was wrong. It's 21 and 22. Okay.
Yeah.
Still, it's still whatever the price is right to get the guy who you think will be your franchise quarterback, because you got to keep taking swings until you get there. And that's the thing that kills me about NFL franchises who don't have that guy.
To me, there's one more domino that needs to fall before we know the answer to that question.
What's that domino?
A.J. McCarron to the Cardinals.
Ooh.
If that happens, so here's what I think is going to play out. If A.J. McCarron doesn't go to the Cardinals and the Cardinals don't get their quarterback in free agency, then I see the Bills trading up. Because the Bills, Lamar's going to get picked up at 15. We don't want to sit with a Mason Root. Because the Arizona needs a quarterback. Unless you think one of those 5.
Do you think Lamar goes that early? I know it's a scramble sometimes.
I'll have it finalized Wednesday when we do our mock draft. But I could see Cleveland taking a quarterback. I could see Denver and the Jets taking quarterbacks. That's 3 of the top 5 right there.
Yep.
And then, like, it all depends on, do the Giants take one? If the Giants don't take one, then maybe one of those 4 fall out. Todd McShay or Mel Kiper, I believe, had like a Josh Rosen going 11 to the Dolphins, which to me, I go, well, what's your faith in? Tannehill? I know Tannehill's coming back from an injury, but what's your faith with that one?
Yeah.
Washington could go quarterback because of, like, just to sit under Alex Smith. But I don't think they would.
God, wouldn't that be hilarious if they took the quarterback in the first, and then all of a sudden, like, the end of the year, you're hearing the rumors, we really love this guy. We got to get him some playing time. It's been a pleasure, Alex Smith.
Alex Smith gets benched again, or gets benched moved. Week 17 and gets traded again. There's a possibility one of those 4 quarterbacks falls out.
Okay.
And that's the thing for me is if A.J. McCarron goes to Arizona, I shy away from trading up because after Arizona, Baltimore doesn't need a quarterback.
Nope.
Chargers don't.
Nope.
Like the Cowboys, the Lions, the Seahawks, they don't need quarterbacks.
Phillip Rivers, no, I'm just fucking.
Someone could,
like getting up there.
Someone could trade up at that point.
Yeah.
Like a team like, I don't even know if there's anyone. There's
if the Giants don't go QB in round 1.
Yeah, they could trade up to get in there. But the Bills are, I don't think they need to trade up into the top 10.
No.
They could trade up either right above the Cardinals or below, depending on where they are, and they can get one of those top 4 quarterbacks
I feel like
where they are.
Yeah, I feel like we all know that there's a gap going after the top 4 and to the second group of quarterbacks. So I think that if you're the Bills, you need to get one of those because if not, your future's in question.
You're talking about like a Darnold, Rosen, Allen, Mayfield.
Correct.
That's what you're looking like.
Correct.
One of those you need to get.
I loved Lamar Jackson in college, but you cannot bet on him as a long-term thing. We've seen what happens to these athletic quarterbacks who are excellent on their feet.
I can't wait to see what he does the 40.
I think he'll be amazing. Look, here's the thing.
Do you think he's going to run a 4.3?
Oh, man.
Because he said at the combine when they asked, what would you have ran? He said, I'd hit 4.3.
I think you could probably pull it off. Because those aren't the electric timers. Those are the hand timers.
True.
So I think you get a 4.3 out of that
get
on
a
Pro Day.
favorable call from one of the guys at the Pro Day.
Yeah, I think you could pull that off.
You know, we're going to go with this watch. This is the watch we're going to use.
Look, he's electric, but at the same time, I don't think he's a long-term guy. He's not He's not what I saw with Deshaun Watson. Like, Deshaun Watson has that pocket presence. He has...
Well, he was an all-around,
that's
more
what I'm saying,
polished quarterback.
But he's mobile enough to throw, but he didn't rely on his legs overly, so he learned to throw properly. He learned to make the difficult throws, where Lamar Jackson knew his athleticism could bail him out of situations.
And threw some interceptions at times.
He could whip the ball, but the accuracy wasn't always there. So I think I feel bad because I'm saying there's a clear line, but I wouldn't put my money on him to be a quarterback for 10 years in the NFL. That's not the way I would go with it.
Last question I have for you, and this is totally unrelated to anything we've talked about. I've asked Mark this. I've asked Brandon this.
This is the last one to come to the table every time.
This is something that, no, I haven't asked Sean or Johnny this.
All right.
We are going to do this at some point in the future. Not immediately, but some point. If we ran the 40, how fast do you think you could run the 40 in this point in your life?
What did Sean run? The other night, it was like 1 a.m, and Sean ran a 40.
I'm not taking that as an official or unofficial time. It didn't happen in my book.
Because he was like 5'5".
There was no one there to witness it.
I know.
Knowing Sean, he didn't run it.
He seemed like he ran.
He probably jogged around my car a couple times.
I think I could probably do it. What was Brady's time?
Brady, I don't know. Rich Eisen this year hit 5.97 in a suit. Suit, tie, and cleats.
I should be able to do it. Cleats hard to slide up. I should be able to beat Rich Eisen.
You think so?
I think I could beat Rich Eisen.
Last year, he got like a 6-something. This year, he actually broke 6 at 5.97.
I think I could beat Rich Eisen. That's what I'll say, yeah.
Is that our benchmark? Is
Rich Eisen? Yeah, why not? I think he's a great benchmark.
This is where you guys come in, though. Let us know. First off, the more important stuff. What do you think about the trades with the Browns? How it affects the Browns? How does it affect the Bills? The Dolphins, we didn't really talk about. The Jarvis Landry thing, we didn't hit. It affects the wide receivers now because basically everyone vying for a wide receiver didn't get affected. The Ravens still need one. The Bears still need one. Allen Robinson was in a Cubs jersey, so that's facts enough. He's coming to Chicago. Facts. Just buy him a house in the Chi. He's going to be here. The Trubisky throwing him the football.
Yeah.
Let us know what you guys think overall about the trades, but then also let us know what you think each of our 40 times would
Tom
be
Brady,
for MVP.
by the way, 5.28.
Yeah,
he looks so out of shape, but he's still around a 5.28. I don't know. Like, can I beat that?
Can you break 5? Can you get 4.9?
Probably not. I used to be in shape.
Because 4.4 is like phenomenal. None of us are getting 4.4.
No one can run a 4.4 here. No one can run a 4.5. No one can run a 4.6.
I think you and Brandon are the closest to.
Didn't Brandon run track?
Yes, and you ran cross country.
Yeah, for like half a year.
But you also swam and did
I fucked my ankle up though that year.
True.
So like, yes, I can run, but like there are some questions.
And I have sprinted well in the past, but I've gained
for a big guy. I've
gained a couple pounds since then.
I want to go to the boomer, the rumbling, bumbling, stumbling. That's your 40.
I'll stumble across that line, man. I'll trip and fall. But you guys, let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. Hit us up on Patreon to support us. MVP, mostvaluablepodcast.com for everything that we do here on the channel and on podcast services around the world. You can also give us 5-star rating on iTunes and Apple Podcasts. And the one I'm missing is our store link down in the description. Get yourself an MVP t-shirt today. Want to thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Want to thank you guys for listening on podcast services around the world. And as always, have a good day, everybody.